Now, in its first resolution against Myanmar in 74 years, the United Nations Security Council urged the country's military junta to end violence and free ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi and all other political prisoners. The Southeast Asian country has witnessed crisis after the military coup deposed Suu Kyi's government in February 2021. 12 members of the UN Security Council voted in favor of the resolution demanding an immediate end to violence in Myanmar, while China, Russia and India abstained from the vote. The 15-member council has long been divided over the Myanmar crisis due to China and Russia's stance. On Wednesday, the UN resolution expressed deep concern at the continuing state of emergency imposed by the military and its grave impact on Myanmar's people. Resolution urged concrete and immediate actions to implement a peace plan agreed on by the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. It also issued a call to uphold democratic institutions and peace processes to pursue constructive dialogue and reconciliation in accordance with the will and interests of the people.
We have adopted the first Security Council resolution on the situation in Myanmar. It is the result of many weeks of careful consultation with Council members, with ASEAN members and with other key regional partners. In February 2021, the military overturned the results of a democratic election, seized power and plunged Myanmar and its 55 million people into a series of cascading crises: humanitarian, economic and political. The coup has had negative consequences for the region and its stability.
Now, Myanmar has witnessed widespread civic unrest as people protested Suu Kyi's removal from the military rule. 77-year-old Suu Kyi has been a prisoner since the army toppled her government almost 2 years ago and violently cracked down on dissent. According to local monitoring group, the military's crackdown on pro-democracy protesters has killed more than 2,500 people in Myanmar. The military has alleged widespread voter fraud during the November 2020 election that was won by Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy party. Although international observers and elections said that the elections were largely free and fair, until now, the UN Security Council had only agreed formal statements on Myanmar, where the army also led a 2017 crackdown on Rohingya Muslims that was described by the United States as genocide. The only other resolution adopted by the Security Council was in 1948, when the body recommended the UN General Assembly admit Myanmar, which was Burma then, as a member of the world body.
3 abstentions.
The coup has had negative consequences.
Now, for more on this, senior journalist Cape Diamond is joining us from Mandalay, Myanmar. Thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
My first question to you: the United Nations Security Council urged the country's military junta to end violence and free ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi and all other political prisoners. What can you tell us of the practical implications of this resolution, if any?
Well, this is, what people have been waiting for, even not only this time, but also during the previous regime before 2010. So, but the thing is that people have been seeing and hearing all this, concern from UN, but they never have seen any actions from the UN. So this is, the people believe that this is one of the first steps that the UN is, trying to use their power to end violence in Myanmar. So if we are talking about the violence, people have been worried about those violence, especially targeting the civilian pro-democracy activists and the politicians by the country junta. So people have been worried that, okay, what if the UN is having that kind of solution? What is the next step? People have been wonder about that. But at the same time, people have that desire that they want to see the release of the democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi, and at the same time, the junta is trying to hold the elections in 2023. But at the same time, people have been worried that, okay, this election is going to be free and fair, or this is just that the junta is trying to play with the UN.
Right, absolutely. Now, the 15-member council has been long divided on the Myanmar crisis due to China and Russia's stance here, as I mentioned earlier. And of course, the UN resolution also expressed deep concern at the continuing state of emergency imposed by the military and of course its grave impact on Myanmar's people. Now, the resolution has urged concrete and immediate actions to implement a peace plan. Do you think a peace plan will be implemented in Myanmar?
Well, as long as the member of the UN is, as long as the member of UN want peace and stability in Myanmar, and they can bring those actions, and then that can be implemented in the countries. Of course, we all know that China and Russia are very close to the junta, very close to the Myanmar, and very close to the successive government. So as long as they can put pressures on Myanmar junta, Myanmar, whatever the government, we can see those implementation of bringing the peace in Myanmar. Of course, at the same time, India as well. India is also a very good friend of Myanmar government. So as long as the Indian government is pushing the pressure on the country, I believe and people believe that we can see that kind of implementation in the countries.
All right, Mr. Dam, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast with all your insights on this.
Thank you so much.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.